Peace, 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 peace. I won't be before you long, but I will get this out. I just appreciate you all. If you haven't already, I always got to show this, but Generational Curse Break is available everywhere. Amazon, everywhere. Link is in my bio. Gratitude to all. The reason I push this so much, again, I just got a very clear insight on something that I wanted to share. Something I really wanted to share with you all. Because it is not like, I just jump right into it. Like my new hairstyle, I put the thing to the side. I don't care, it is what it is, but give honor to Source, the Most High, the Creator, whatever your higher power is. Give gratitude to the ancestors known and unknown that came before us. I've been going through some major shifts and just, experiencing some things that I just, again, really want to share this very boldly and courageously. One of the main reasons that I come and share my message that was very personal and troubling for me in the past from my experiences with, let's just say, women, not all women, but my experiences. And that being from, which I'm not blaming, or it's not all, but honestly and truth, that if you want to know, for a lot of you women that want to know, like, a lot of answers to probably questions that you probably have, why a lot of men confide into other men in a way, and not in a way of like how immediately, just from my experience, how immediately that can be perceived as when you have men hang around men, majority of the time why they like other than their significant other. Here's your answer. There has been so much wounded ego, woundedness when it comes to feminine principles, which we all hold, and also that giving birth to the wounded masculine that shows up in us all, whether through mother issues and father issues. A lot of the main reasons why I say, a lot of things, like when it comes to this platform, is that it just seems, from my experiences, and I know a lot of men, young men probably can relate to, it's like our women, not all, but majority of our women that have father issues, mother issues, or woundedness, they want to ignore, and this is especially to a lot of our women, and especially you that have young men, like as sons, due to probably you having your emotions abandoned young or not being emotionally, it breeds emotional unavailability, probably connected to something in your past. That being said, we also as men haven't had a safe place to express ourselves. So a lot of why I come here is because this has been my safe place in a way, and also so that I can connect with other young men and men that even in their marriages, even in their connections, whatever it is, there is no platforms, nothing that is in place nowhere in the world for men to have a safe place for their emotions. And I always go to the root of it. I always go to the root, the fact of like why I tell, especially a lot of our women, why, it's so important for you to heal yourself as women, mothers, daughters, aunts, whatever, sisters, because a lot of these young men such as myself, they're also looking for a safe place. And even when they join gangs or be a part of certain things that they're just trying to escape through, whether drugs or where they never talk about stuff or, intrusive thoughts, even things suicidal, you know, immediately they are targeted. Um, from my own experiences, man, it's very challenging being or having to have been in a country that, that has done everything to try to devalue men, and the ignorance and the, ignoring how we have been treated, and then how even when we, a man of my stature, around 6'3", 6'4", almost 200 pounds, you know again, if I show any ounce of emotion, whether, anger or whatever, and this has nothing to do with my past, but it relates to my past when I connect the dots of like realizing how much a lot of us men never had not only a safe place, because I've spoken about how our mothers haven't had a safe place, so this has breeded or even gave life to men such as ourselves who have tried our best to try to be safe places. So through my experience, there is a very underlining like distrust when it comes to I'll speak on different levels, like women that are darker that I've encountered, and it's not all, but relating to my past and my traumas or my connection with my mom, and then seeing how women treated other men that are darker. I've never experienced or seen men like have a safe place, because there were always backstabbing, there was always betrayals in that experience. I'm just getting this out because there's other men who can relate, and so you bring us in our world to why you see certain men who either date outside what they normally would, or just simply trying to find a safe place or to express or find peace. And so um, when I see certain demographics, and I see why young men, um, and that I've mentored and talked to, seeing the importance of like having to really talk to them in a tough way, but not, when I mean by tough, it's like bro, I know you going through some shit. Like, okay, you can talk to me about it. And what a lot of people don't realize, a lot of these young men that go off to school, college, their father's not around, or they go to a school that's predominantly, a different ethnicity or lighter shaded people. And people don't realize like there still are targeted, or still like there are so many eyes on them. I experienced it. I know young men who still experience it. And it's very challenging because I was expressing to someone how, like, if our own women haven't been a safe place for us, some of our last resort is to go to talk to women that don't really look like us, but at the same moment, a lot of the harsh reality or difficulties with that is like some of them don't come from the same demographics. So one of the most challenging things, even from experience in the past, is that they don't know the depths of that pain. They don't know the depths of the experience. They don't know the depths of what we experience as darker men, or what we have experienced. And especially where there aren't spaces held for us. And I don't mean just that there's, and I mean men also, in this totality. But when it comes to darker men, when it comes to spaces where we're given an opportunity, therapy, where we're given an opportunity where someone looks like us, this is why I fucking come here, bruh. I come here to create certain content that is relatable, like life, things that, haven't been in places where the demographics is darker, where I can relate to people, but I still got to be aware, because you don't know who's holding in something, because that's what it is with a lot of these little boys. They're holding in so many things, and they're trying to find an outlet, but they don't know how to navigate those emotions. So I'm honored to realize this I try to be a safe place, because I can relate to even athletes or a lot of people. I don't care what level that they're on. I don't care if they're even artists or whatever. There's a relatability there when it comes to people who may come off a certain way, but deep down, bro, in the core, they're really battling with themselves, whether it's something related to imposter syndrome, self-acceptance, self-confidence, or even simply being themselves without the cameras, being themselves without, trying to be this character that really, at the core of them, really doesn't reflect any healthy core values. And a lot of these young men do not believe that they are better than their circumstances. So coming out of that, sharing a book, sharing things that I've gone through, just having a gratitude every day to just share these messages, because if people want to know why we are so closed off, why a lot of these young men do what they do, it's because there isn't and hasn't been a safe place for us to really be ourselves, a safe place to really be our authentic selves. So we're having to literally like carve ourselves out without trying to worry about the acceptance of the world. And most importantly, a lot of what we didn't receive young, we never got acceptance from the ones who cared about us the most, that looked like us. Then trying to go out here, trying to put on this mask to a boss, to a career, to a coach, to somebody else, and knowingly like trying to persuade ourselves to believe that they care and they don't. If we're not the next greatest athlete, we're not the next, artist, or somebody who's trying to mislead the fucking youth, or trying to sell the next crack rock, something that literally is a stereotype. And then it's even more challenging for a lot of them, especially myself, where you see people try to breadcrumb you purposely because you're trying to do something completely different. And they're like, oh, nah, we're not finna help that nigga. Like, we're not finna do that. We're not finna do that because he actually has opportunity to reach millions, hundreds of millions, billions, which I know myself to do and will happen. And whether it's this lifetime or after I leave this vessel, the thing is to see that us believing that, having safe places for us to be ourselves outside of the stereotypes of just basketball, football, rapping, other things like that when it comes to certain demographics. So again, the mental strength that I've had to have, the courage that I've had to go in certain places and to live and to realize like they don't fuck with you, bro. They don't mess with you at all. And to really see the things when it comes to certain communities, how they turn their face up at you, and how you have to have the utmost confidence to be who you are, to walk with great, to give yourself grace even in the moments where people turn away because of not just what you look like, but even the ones that look like you and turn away because they cannot dim your light and they don't want to in any way support what you're doing, even though they know that it can touch them and others. So going back to like, again, why I put so much emphasis on mental health, man. You have so many of us as men that are supported in so much of like unhealthy ways, whether it's relationship, whether it's dealing with the community. It's wild because I say this because I know personally, like, I never was the type that tried to get, like, I would get involved with stuff, but I never was driven towards like certain things to where I knew it would kind of jeopardize my future, or I just had this awareness differently than other people. So with that, I would see certain women lean towards the so-called bad guy or the dope boy or the guy who was more popular. But what I start to recognize now with myself, the importance of emotional intelligence and learning daily and still honoring my emotions, how to navigate those emotions, is to see the importance of how, a lot of people don't have depth to them. They're just surface level. They're just things on a surface that they present. But deep down, that's not who they really want to be, or this is who they want to be to them. But there's nothing, there's nothing beyond just that point. And so one thing I've accepted and I had to accept about me that I just never was that type of person or being or guy or man and never wanted to be a part of certain crowds. Um, and I start to recognize the importance of what leadership really means and how how trying to be a follower guides you right into being a leader and learning to lead your own life. So um, it's very challenging, but a beautiful experience as it unfolds because uh, I know personally, hand in hand, people I know personally that are battling with substance abuse, alcoholism, or trying to escape through whatever it is because they're trying to find a way to cope. And we're acting like there's shit out here that really supports the mental well-being, not just of people that are darker shade, but anybody, but especially people in this country or in a country that, again, that has done nothing because people, they're so more focused on whether it's like reparations or money. Like, instead of your mental health, your emotional well-being. And this is why I take so much emphasis on that because, you know, I've spoken about, okay, you can have all this money, but there's an emotional part to that. There hasn't been awareness or sound judgment. Very, do you have a healthy relationship with yourself and emotionally to have a healthy relationship with those finances? When you look at currency, when you look at things energetically, do you have an awareness on how this can expand or have an effect on others per se? So again, it's like, man, it's I've had to realize how even stepping away from certain things because of trying to balance out my own mental health and checking in on especially some of the youth that I know. And the truth is, bro, like, let me be honest, motherfuckers ain't checking for you. They ain't checking for me. And I'm not saying it in a way of like, oh, they have to. When it really comes to men, especially the society and demographics, like, there's so much immediate judgment. Soon as you make one decision, soon as you are you're doing so many things great when it comes to scoring the football and scoring the basketball. They only care about it if they can dunk or certain things if they only just making them, bringing more attention or so-called fame to them. And it's like, yo, there is more depth to people no matter their skin color. There is more depth to us. There's more depth to me. And I know that. The more and more, I get to know myself on this healing journey or this journey where I realize how important my mental health is before I even think about considering signing anything contractually or anything I want to indulge in. And I have to ask myself, is my well-being is attached to whatever it is, whether it's that person, whether it's those people, whether it's that corporation, business, my well-being. And that's the thing when I look at society and when I look at like music industry, all this stuff, it's like, when people are not performing because the world is a stage of a certain way and they're not, you see the immediate criticism, you see the immediate judgment. And it's like, I told myself how I'm going to pioneer before I even think about being a part of anything. Again, it's the awareness around my mentality, my well-being, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. I'm putting that much energy into something. And then how, not only how it's going to affect me, but how would it affect the others? Because everybody, color don't make you kin. And when it comes to, again, having this platform and sharing things that whether people receive it or not, whether it's uncomfortable, it's the fact of like the truth don't really care about your emotions, but at the same time the importance of the emotions, do you care about it? Do you care about how others feel about you? But do you care about you more? So that's one thing that has been very vital for me in learning how much that there isn't a priority to when it comes to our mental health. When I'm, and that's why, again, I share these things with you all. It's like there's no platform in place. The first thing naturally is like they want to prescribe you with, uh drugs or something medical, rather than some of these niggas just need to sit down and talk to you. Some of these people just need to sit down and talk with someone, but it not be used against them. That has been the most challenging things when I was in connections or relationship. Is like, can you imagine as a child or a little boy that's growing into your teenage and so forth, and you're not trying to be a part of the trend, and you're not out here trying to, you clown because you want to be a virgin, or you didn't lose your virginity until you was I was like 21, when I just something like that, 2021, and you're clowned immediately because you're talking about a culture who don't even realize, like, a lot of y'all trauma bonding, a lot of y'all don't even realize, like, some of you reenacting behavior because of sexual traumas. And then here we are now facing shit too, where you're like, oh my gosh, like, whoa, where was my mental health then? How was my well-being? And so, with that, it's like, I'm grateful enough to come to this awareness and to be at this place because, if I had the opportunity to share more, like, to continue doing what I'm doing, to speak in places, because, that young man or whomever that's coming up needs that assistance, or needs that seed to be planted. It's a beautiful thing. Because a lot of y'all, let's be real, a lot of you guardians, a lot of you people have given up on yourself, so you giving up on the youth. You have. And it don't have to mean you just jump out there all willy-nilly. No, because your mental health is important. Your well-being is important. It's just ways you can go about it. So again, like, growing up, all that pressure around, like, oh, you got to be the best athlete to get the best girl, stupid shit, like superficial stuff. Oh, you got to have the most money. You got to be the dope boy with the rims. You got to do all this stuff just to be liked and accepted. Just now I realize the most stupid is ignorant stuff. Because what sense it is to have people around you, or you being in any type of relationship or partnership, and there is no focus on your well-being. You can be, people with each other and have been with each other for years and don't even care about their own well-being. So they know that they don't care about their partner's well-being, because there's no emphasis on self-love. There's no emphasis on resting. There's no emphasis on, like, encouraging that man to follow his vision. It has been very challenging, like day to day, but realizing, like, the confidence that we have to build as men, especially darker men, when we don't have that support system. As people on social media or certain women, they all this emphasis. Like, come on, man, let's be honest, because that's the thing about me being honest with myself, is to realize, like, y'all, that's bullshit. There is no emphasis. Where is the support? You want us to be, you want us to be confident, and you want us to show up for you. You want us to go out there and do all these things to provide and protect, or, create these things, but there is nothing there reciprocated. It's more than just money. A lot of us have went through hell and back with a lot of people, with women and stuff, to where it's very challenging for a lot of us. I know myself, it took me so many years, and still learning to have to rebuild trust within myself, to trust even women. And no, this ain't just the emphasis on what I've done and my actions. No, it's deeper to what I have experienced, childhood, teenage. There is phases a lot of us men have went through that we still are unlearning, that we literally have been, like, some of the most hurtful things have come from the women that said they loved us and they cared about us. Some of the most hurtful things. And so for a lot of us, it's like, there's no commitment. There's more commitment in solitude and isolation with ourselves, because, we don't even believe, there's been so much emphasis, there's been so much attention on how the woman has been hurt. And this is not a versus thing, but, when you look at society, that's naturally the woman is a victim. When And in reality, it's, again, we all have had a wounded ego. We all have went through things. But when I say that there are nothing in place that hold, there's nothing or no one, or there's nothing, I've had to learn to rebuild that structure within myself, to be secure within myself, to realize like I've had to learn to hold a safe place for myself. When I didn't even like learning about the chakra system and the root chakra system, and realizing how younger when that was almost like destroyed, or the effects of the stability when you look at the root chakra and how it displays certain things like fear and stability and so forth. And when you look at our childhood experiences for a lot of us in certain demographics, when you're talking about society, policing, school system and so forth, and the target that's on a lot of our backs just because we want to just be ourselves and not just be labeled as criminals or labeled as things again. But where are the spaces? Where are y'all holding spaces for, for us to build this trust, to build this bridge? Where are these things outside of money? You sit a lot of these men down, you'll realize you're talking to a little boy that has been damaged, that has been bruised, that has a bruised ego. Yeah, they have a wounded ego, but at the same time, they're wounded inside too. And a lot of what they did not have is a mother or women that have held a space for them to express themselves, because we know that we have been programmed and are now unlearning and breaking free from that program, that it's okay for us to be vulnerable. It's okay for us to cry. It's okay for us to also seclude ourselves for the benefit, for our well-being, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Because I had to learn that, through some of my experience, most people don't know about. I chose to stay when I was younger because I thought that that was okay. Stay in certain relationships where I did get abused, not just in my childhood by women, but I got abused by women emotionally, mentally, financially, a lot of things that I wasn't even aware of. And a lot of men, young boys out here, are going through the same thing because their beginning aspect of what they went through with their mothers, wherever in the womb, and with the matriarchal aspect after, and when we look at the culture that reflects that, y'all can't say that there's a safe place for us to even do anything. It's automatically attacked. It's automatically nitpicked or picked apart. So when I say I come here in moments like to have this safe place for men, is because I had to relearn to be safe within myself, to realize like, whoa, there's a lot of young men out here that y'all don't know about. And when they don't feel safe amongst themselves, then when you see why they treat each other like that in certain demographics, the hood or whatever it is, it's because y'all don't go to the parts of where that begins, the root part of that, like where it started. We don't ask ourselves, have they been bullied? Have they been abused and so forth? And if they have, why aren't you being a safe place for that little boy? And then why, a lot of us grew up in generations where a lot of that was manipulated. It was used against us. Oh, he's soft. He a bit, he this, calling us names because we a lot of us was wounded, so we're in this overgiving stage because we just trying to get some reciprocity. But where has it been created? This is why I always tell our women, I'm like, it's mostly women in this world. The matriarchal is very vital. So you reflect the patriarchal as well. We reflect each other. So when you're talking about, if you're not an emotionally safe place for yourself, how can you say you're a safe place for that man? It don't matter your looks. When you go to the depths of people, has nothing to do with how beautiful and how well put together you are. I've been there. Modeling, fashion world, and so forth, artistry, meeting people. It don't matter how well put together they are. They still can have something going on internally. But the truth of the matter is that there are no platforms. There are no places for a lot of us. And for a lot of us as darker men, it's scary because we want to feel safe. We want to feel safe again, just like you do. But a lot of you aren't safe for us. Let's be real. It don't matter our physical stature. A lot of you aren't safe for men emotionally. A lot of you don't even hold a space for yourself. A lot of us don't even hold a space for, that even have fucking compassion for darker men. Because you don't even have compassion for yourself because you're so wounded and blocked and you so, stubborn and certain things going on. And this is not an attack. It's just the acknowledging the accountability that we need to take and realize, why don't we have compassion for each other, but there is this expectancy for us to do that? Why is there, as soon as something happens to a certain, when a woman, why can't we get that same energy in return? Why does our sons can't get that same energy? Because they learned their emotions through you first. They learned that nurturing from you first. They learned that. It took so many years to unlearn that behavior pattern, that self-sabotage, and, breaking those generational patterns of what I thought was love, what I thought was a healthy love, until I realized how much I was hurting myself. A lot of men aren't aware how much they're hurting and have been hurting themselves, so they project this out into the world. They project this out onto you. You don't know what to do because physically you can't do nothing with them, but truthfully, beyond that physicality, I don't care if he's 300-400 pounds. If you learn how to talk to yourself healthily and you talk to him healthily, things will change. I had to realize and even come into that process of like how I'm supposed to be spoken to and how I speak to myself. How, again, I was in connections where I realized a lot of women didn't respect themselves, so they couldn't have respected me. And a lot of people normalize that disrespect. A lot of people, we normalize disrespect. This society normalized dysfunction. You normalize like treating people like shit. Y'all have normalized and thinking that it's okay not to be and live a peaceful, harmonious life. And then you wonder why men shut down or move away or have these almost suicidal thoughts. They're going through these things that they never talk about. Because you're asking us, and I'm going to leave you with this. Basically, women, you're asking us to put everything aside that we got going on already to provide and protect for you. When we're mirrors of each other. You hold things more internally, like emotionally. So some little boys and some men don't even realize like they can naturally pick up on that. But they actually think that this dysfunctionality is acceptable. I went through that pattern for years thinking like this behavior I deserve, when I realized like whether you have kids or not or with someone, it is not acceptable. When you know that you have been treated, less valuable than, the divine sees you. So a lot of men don't know their worth. And it has nothing to do with you. It has a lot to do with their internal value, how they see themselves, because the world has told them that their value is only to be a protector and a provider. But they don't know the importance of being a protector and a provider for themselves inwardly first. I had to realize that when it came to my emotions, like I had to, again, learn to parent and provide for myself emotionally. Because what good would if I have millions of dollars or whatever it is, or rich, whatever you want to say, and I'm not, my emotional well-being isn't intact. And that's what you see around the world. You seeing literally this dysfunctional ass energy with rappers or people who berate themselves in certain medallions and dress up in this and tell the youth all this other stuff that has no fucking substance. Has there's when you get to all that surface stuff, you scratch the surface and you realize, okay, who are you beyond these diamonds? Who are you beyond this money? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? And when you look at a lot of them, and what I see right through you all. When I look at that, I'm like, this is just a little boy masking himself, berating himself. Okay, so what? You ain't the only one grew up in the hood. You ain't the only one that grew up in a demographic that, you had to look over your shoulder. And I'm not attacking someone's so-called success. I'm calling the bluff of like, okay, how long you gonna keep preaching that message of knowing that to the depths of what that does to the youth? Come on now. You know the frequency that holds. You know the effects. Everybody ain't supposed to do that. You ain't really bringing awareness to the youth of like, hey, little bro, like, okay, outside of this shit right here, the truth is like, bro, love yourself. You have a little boy that's still in there. They still got little boys inside of them. No matter how tough they are, no matter how, it really baffles me to see people that still 50, 60, whatever it is. Like, I had to really like get a reality check. I'm like, I'm 35. Hold on. I remember I used to listen to say, I'm like, hold on, what? Yo, the consciousness, the collective, things are shifting. We're not in that shit no more. I care about myself, so I care about the youth to share this message. Even the ones that's ignorant, that's still trying to push this message with, like, come on, man. Judgment is upon y'all head, bro. Divine justice at that. Come on, man. Like, for real, let's be real here. That's the thing about the powers that used to be giving these fools these platforms and knowing that how it's going to affect the youth. Come on now, you think that ain't? Now, they're falling by the wayside. Let's be honest. It don't matter. It ain't just rappers, athletes. There's a lot of people too. Like when it comes to the fact of like the influence that you know you have, the ripple effect that you know you have. But that's that wounded ego though. That's that pride. And pride comes before the fall. The warning. And this is people warning. Like I said, like there is no platform. This is the beginning. This is the beauty of it. We have to pioneer our own things. I'm telling you, a lot of you youth, a lot of you, man, no one's your savior. I'm not your savior. But at the same moment, there's awareness around as you become more in tune with yourself and you see like the veil is lifted. You'll see clearly who these athletes, celebrities, or whatever you want to call them, it's nothing can be hidden no more. Like it's literally the end of times. That like it's a wrap. Because I look them right in their face and tell them, you don't care about me. I know you don't, and I'm not worried about you care about me, but you especially don't care about the youth. Because a lot of them still they're part of the dysfunction too. Because they can hold a platform, they can say stuff, they can bring awareness to knowingly what is going on, especially when it comes to the mental health awareness and so forth. But I don't look for them to do it because many are called and few are chosen. And they have their calling, they're living it out, but they're not chosen to do this. They're not frontline. They're still followers. And that's just what it is. And I don't got to do nothing. The Most High is calling a bluff. I'm just a vessel. So again, to the youth and young men out there, and also to my women, it's like, y'all know y'all haven't been a safe place for us, for you. You know you haven't. And it's easy for a woman in a victimization society where it's easily where you can be looked at because you're smaller, because the woundedness of the matriarchal or the woundedness of the femininity, how it's been misused and manipulated, and the energy's been manipulated so that you can naturally play victim no matter what culture and creed. And then for y'all to ignore the fact of there's more darker men in this so-called world or in the US that are incarcerated. They're easily thrown to the wolves and not cared for. And then there's so much that I've had to check a lot of people when it comes to like giving them the reality. Like, come on, man. You know you can go to the bank and get a loan. You know you can go do this. You know you can go do this and do this easily. Come on, man. Like energy. We in a position now like energy don't lie. Like it's nothing can be hidden no more. I was telling someone the other day. I was like, I'm recognizing the energy at play even when people like are trying to. They can't even hide themselves no more. They can't even hide the internal racism or structure. You know, the internalized. You know, these corporate, they can't even hide it when it comes to the colorism. They can't even hide like a lot of stuff. And that's everywhere. But again, there's more to come and beautiful things. You know, like man, it's amazing. I'm grateful. Like I said, I'm honored to hold a space, especially when it comes to men's mental health, of like them realizing the importance of, even through my artistry, even through my writings and so forth. I'm just a vessel. I don't. It ain't about taking credit. It's about when you know you a whole vibe, and you know that your vibration, you're gonna ripple, like you have a ripple effect. That's no fear. That's this. It's amazing because the shift is here, and it's just been revealed. Like things are just speeding up more rapidly. So I love you, my brotherhood. It's important to build communities of brotherhood. I love you all. I appreciate you. I see you because you are lovable, bruh. You are lovable. And no matter what relationship, it don't matter what you went through with your mom and your father, you are lovable. It took me it took me a while to get here to realize like how lovable I am. I came here to be loved, experience love, and love myself most importantly. And that has been a process, even through the the unhealthy parts of myself that y'all don't see. And I had to also give myself grace and not blame myself for those parts, because again, due to the programming, due to my own shortcomings, due to what I was given when I was young and so forth, it's a process. You have to give yourself grace through these challenges, especially for a lot of you that are probably getting out of prison. You having a reset, you have to come into a world that's completely different. I see you too. A lot of you young men that are trying to navigate through these corporations that do not support your mental health. So they don't, after that, why would you think that they're going to support you successfully? I mean, through your success, or really obtaining it when you get to a certain place. Like, let's be real. Prioritize your mental health, men. Prioritize that, because the world is not going to do that. There's nothing in place. That's why, again, I've had to learn to pioneer this shit, because these books and certain things and whatever, there's more to come. That's all like, nah, there ain't no more like victimization stories. This ain't no victimization. Nah, this is more like victory now, because it's important. We have stories now because a lot of you are victorious just by getting up and being who the fuck you are. That's victory right there. By being you unapologetically, loving on yourself, honoring yourself, walking your walk. Don't matter the deep insecurities that sister have, because she can't accept that you are emotionally in tune and she's emotionally unavailable. Move on, move forward. Teach your sons that will come after you the importance of that. And also, this is one thing that I realized that is very vital. It's like we are naturally that. You learn your emotional resonance and receive these things from your mother. And a lot of us did not have nurturing systems. So therefore, there are nothing in place. We're immediately thrown to the wolves, or we're immediately judged. We're immediately, just targeted because they fear, or people fear, and they immediately go to the anger and aggression when we're more than that. Anger ain't just the only emotion. We never ask, like, how are you, man? What you really going through? And so just know, I see you, man. I see you all. Young men that are, even the little boys that are coming up through the elementary schools and questioning themselves. And, it's so much, man. I can go deeper and deeper, like even when it comes to like sports and a lot of stuff, the favoritism and, them not being encouraged outside of just performing for sports. And then, there's no mental healthy space after, these athletes or certain people get injured, bro. It's deep. And then it's clear when it's shown that a lot of those women or people in your life don't care because something that happened, and they don't care about your well-being. So take care of you. I'm encouraging a lot of you, like, to hold space for you. I'm here. I share these messages because there are no platforms that are not, I don't know of many, personally that holds a space for, men's mental health. And, or just, seeing the value in how our emotions matter, how we matter outside of just our skin color. internally on a soul level, spiritually, how our emotions matter, how we show up, and even when we want to rest, all of that matters. All of that is important. So remember to take care of you. Peace and love. Shalom.